Welcome back to Astral Bard and our multi-part series on the next global financial reset.
Wow.
This is the fifth and last video in that series.
Enjoying our quality time together.
We've been building to this moment for 4 videos. In video 1, we exposed the 1,800-year heist, how Pluto in Aquarius is forcing the Federal Reserve fraud into the light, and how the transition from real dollars to debt notes has enslaved an entire civilization.
You can find that here.
In video 2, we walk through the Spanish curse, the wage warfare mechanism that's cannibalizing Western nations through mass immigration and unearned debt spending.
Video 2, right here.
In video 3, we showed you the velocity trap, the 103-year Weimar echo, and why the collapse will happen in weeks because of Uranus and Gemini and the lightning ledger.
And here's video 3.
In video 4, we dissected the bond market trap, the clipping mechanism running since the Holy Roman Empire, and why Saturn in Aries is about to kill the rehypothecation scam holding the global financial system together.
Bang.
You now have the complete picture.
Wow.
You understand the structure, the momentum, the velocity, and the anatomy. You know what's coming. You know when it's coming. And you know there's no stopping it. What you don't know yet is how to survive it. That's what this video is for. This is video 5, the capstone, the concerted verdict. This is where all 4 hammers converge, where every cycle we've discussed locks into a single timeline, and where I show you the only exit that works. Because here's the truth. The old world is ending. The financial system you've known your entire life, the system your parents knew, the system that's been running since 1913, it's over. The 4-way stop is here. And when the light turns green again, only one type of asset will be on the other side. Let's finish this. Let me start by recapping the 4 hammers, because understanding how they work together is critical to understanding why 2026 is the convergence point and why there's no way to delay this any further. Hammer 1. Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto entered Aquarius at 0 degrees in 2024, and it's going to stay there for the next 20 years. This is a 248-year cycle. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we were in the middle of the American Revolution, tearing down the British monetary system and building a new one. Pluto in Aquarius always does the same thing. It exposes hidden power structures, it forces transparency, and it kills the private mint. In previous videos, we learned that the Federal Reserve has been running a hidden debt scam since 1913. The 1936 Treasury gold sterilization, the dead storage accounting trick, the fractional reserve fraud. All of it has been buried in complexity and secrecy for over a century. Pluto in Aquarius, combined with blockchain technology and distributed ledgers, is dragging all of it into the light. The digital ledger is the transparency mechanism. You can't hide fraud on a blockchain. You can't sterilize gold when every ounce is accounted for on-chain. Pluto has stopped the private mint. The secrecy is over.
Fractional reserve fraud works great until everyone has a copy of the ledger.
Hammer 2. Neptune in Aries. Neptune entered Aries at 0 degrees in early 2025, and it's going to stay there for the next 14 years. This is a 165-year cycle. The last time Neptune was in Aries, we were in the middle of the American Civil War and Reconstruction. Before that, it was the late 1600s, during the collapse of the Spanish Empire. Neptune in Aries always does the same thing. It stops the universalist dream, it dissolves the blurry border, and it triggers national self-preservation. The Neptune in Pisces fog, the guilt-driven compassion that allowed mass immigration and wage suppression to run unchecked, that fog is burning off. Aries is the warrior. Aries is the boundary. Aries is the self. When the Treasury hits 0, when the capital to fund the globalist UBI dream runs out, the hospitality phase ends. Neptune in Aries has stopped the blurry border. The forced repatriation is coming because the money to support the influx of vast swaths of immigrants no longer exists anywhere in the world, and particularly the West. The Kondratiev Winter is purging the debt, and nations are about to remember they have a right to protect their own people first.
National self-preservation isn't a theory. It's what happens when a country realizes it can only afford to protect its own.
Right? Hammer 3. Uranus in Gemini. Uranus entered Gemini at 0 degrees in May 2025, and it's going to stay there for the next 7 years. This is an 84-year cycle. The last time Uranus was in Gemini, we were in the middle of World War II and the Bretton Woods Conference that restructured the global monetary system. Uranus in Gemini always does the same thing. It accelerates information flow. It shatters stable units of account, and it forces rapid adaptation. In 1923, Weimar Germany had 300 paper mills running 24 hours a day, and it still took months for the currency to collapse. In 2026, we have the Lightning Ledger. We have high-frequency trading. We have a global network where every price change is visible instantaneously. When velocity kicks in, when the unit of account hallucination shatters, the collapse won't take months. It will take weeks, maybe days. Uranus has stopped the paper timeline. The illusion of stable currency value is about to be destroyed in real time, and there will be no lag, no time to adjust, no second chance.
In 1923, it took 300 paper mills to crash a currency. In 2026, it only takes one refresh button.
Hammer 4. Saturn in Aries. Saturn entered Aries at 0 degrees in May 2025, and it's going to stay there for the next 2.5 years. This is a 29-year cycle. The last time Saturn was in Aries, we were on the edge of the dot-com bubble burst. Before that, it was right before the collapse of Bretton Woods and the decoupling of the dollar from gold. Saturn in Aries always does the same thing. It demands accountability, it forces the hard asset, and it kills the paper promise.
Wow.
The bond market is a rehypothecated house of cards. The same collateral has been used in 5, 10, maybe 20 different transactions. When Saturn in Aries demands proof, when it forces institutions to produce the actual asset and not just the paper claim, the entire chain collapses. Saturn has stopped the bond clipping. The rehypothecation trap is over. The era of using clipped collateral to prop up a debt-based system is ending, and the market is about to demand real, hard, provable assets.
Darling, you're making some mighty bold claims. Put it all together for them, to show them why.
Note the specific 0 point on the calendar, February 2026. This is when Saturn and Neptune conjoin at 0 degrees Aries. This is the astronomical definition of the hard restart. It is the precise moment the old structure, Saturn, dissolves, Neptune, and the warrior, Aries, takes the wheel. 4 hammers, 4 cycles, all of them entering 0 degrees of their respective signs within a 12-month window. That's not a coincidence. That's a convergence. That's the universe, or if you prefer, the mathematical structure of time itself, saying the same thing in 4 different languages.
Wow.
The old system is over.
When the structure dissolves, the only thing that remains is what you can actually defend. Welcome to Aries Rules.
Now let me show you the mathematical precision of the timeline, because this is where it gets almost supernatural in its accuracy. There's a cycle researcher named Martin Armstrong who's been studying economic patterns for over 40 years. He discovered something called the pi cycle, and it's based on the number 3.141, the mathematical constant pi.
Full disclosure. While Armstrong was convicted for his role in a Ponzi scheme, that doesn't make him wrong.
Armstrong found that major financial turning points happen in intervals of 3,141 days. It's a frequency that shows up in interest rate peaks, stock market crashes, geopolitical crises, everything. And when you count forward 3,141 days from the last major turning point, which was the COVID lockdown crash in March 2020, you land in late 2028. But here's the thing. The pi cycle doesn't just mark the crash. It marks the midpoint of the crisis window. The actual break happens 18 to 24 months before the pi turning point. That puts the break in 2026, specifically mid-2026. And remember the kitchen cycle from video 3? The 40-month inventory heartbeat that peaks in June 2026? That's the exact same window. The solar maximum 25, also peaking in 2025 and 2026. The North Node in Aquarius, active right now, exposing the network fraud. Every single cycle, from the 40-month Kitchen to the 50-year Kondratiev, to the 84-year Uranus, to the 165-year Neptune, to the 248-year Pluto, all of them are converging on the same 18 to 24-month window. And that window is now. This is what the title of this series means: the 2026 reset. Not 2030, not sometime in the future, 2026. The concerted verdict of every cycle, every hammer, every frequency is pointing to the same moment. The four-way stop is here. Pluto has stopped the private mint. Neptune has stopped the blurry border. Uranus has stopped the paper timeline. Saturn has stopped the bond clipping. The old world is frozen. And when it unfreezes, the landscape will be completely different. Now here's the question everyone's been waiting for. What do you do? How do you protect yourself? How do you not just survive this, but come out the other side with your wealth intact? Because let me be very clear, most people are going to be wiped out. Most people are holding cash, holding bonds, holding dollar-denominated assets, holding promises from institutions that won't exist in 24 months. If you're one of those people and you do nothing, you will lose everything. Not some of it, all of it. But if you understand what's happening, if you act now, you can sidestep the entire collapse. Here's the only escape: decentralized, on-chain assets, sovereignty. Let me break that down because there's a lot of confusion about what this actually means. When I say on-chain, I'm talking about assets that exist on a blockchain, a distributed ledger that can't be altered, can't be inflated, can't be rehypothecated, and can't be controlled by a central authority. This is the infrastructure Pluto in Aquarius is forcing into existence.
Wow.
This is the transparency mechanism that survives the collapse. The first and most obvious example is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital asset with a hard cap of 21 million coins. No government can print more. No central bank can inflate it. No institution can rehypothecate it if you hold it in self-custody. It exists outside the traditional financial system. It's not a promise. It's not a note. It's a bearer asset. If you hold the private keys, you own it. No one can take it from you. No one can freeze it. No one can devalue it by printing more. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Bitcoin is volatile. Bitcoin crashes. How is that safe? Here's what you're missing. Bitcoin's volatility is noise. What matters is the long-term trend. Every single time there's been a financial crisis, every time fiat currencies have come under pressure, Bitcoin has surged. It surged in 2013 during the Cyprus banking crisis. It surged in 2017 during global monetary expansion. It surged in 2020 during COVID money printing. And it's about to surge again in 2026 when the dollar and the bond market collapse. Why? Because Bitcoin is the exit. It's the only asset that can't be clipped, can't be debased, can't be controlled. When people lose faith in government currencies, they flee to hard assets: gold, silver, real estate, and increasingly, Bitcoin.
A promise from a bank is just a fancy way of saying they don't have your money. If it's not on chain, it's just a ghost in the machine.
But Bitcoin isn't the only play. There's an entire ecosystem of decentralized assets emerging. Ethereum, which allows for programmable money and smart contracts. Decentralized exchanges, DEXs, where you can trade assets without a central authority controlling the order book. On-chain commodities, tokenized gold and silver that you can hold digitally with blockchain proof of ownership. Real estate tokenization, where property ownership is represented on-chain and can't be inflated away. Energy tokens, where you own a claim on actual energy production, not a paper promise. Now let me talk about XRP, because this is where most people are confused, and it's critical you understand why XRP is a game changer in this reset. XRP is not like Bitcoin. It's not trying to be digital gold. XRP was engineered for a specific purpose: to be the bridge asset for cross-border payments and institutional settlement. And in 2025, that purpose is becoming reality. XRP's legal clarity has improved significantly, opening doors for institutional adoption. Ripple's, the maker of XRP, payment infrastructure, has processed billions in cross-border transactions, and hundreds of financial institutions have integrated with their network, using XRP to move money across borders in seconds instead of days, at a fraction of the cost of traditional systems like SWIFT.
Wow!
Here's why XRP is critical to the reset. When the bond market collapses, when rehypothecation chains break, when dollar liquidity freezes, the global financial system still needs a way to settle transactions. Central banks are exploring CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, but they need a neutral bridge asset to connect different currencies and different ledgers. XRP is positioning itself as that connector, serving as infrastructure between traditional finance, stablecoins, and emerging digital currency systems. The XRP ledger offers extremely fast transaction speeds and minimal costs, making it highly efficient for institutional-grade cross-border payments. Ripple has also launched regulated stablecoin products and expanded into institutional clearing and settlement services, building the infrastructure that could survive the reset. When the old SWIFT system is too slow, too expensive, and too fragile to handle the velocity of a collapsing currency environment, XRP becomes the settlement rail. This isn't speculation. They're building the plumbing for the new financial system while the old one is still collapsing. The key is decentralization. The key is self-custody. The key is assets that exist outside the control of failing institutions. Because when the bond market collapses, when the rehypothecation chain breaks, when the dollar loses reserve currency status, the institutions you trusted are going to freeze your accounts. They're going to impose capital controls. They're going to tell you that you can't move your money, that it's for your own protection, that it's temporary. And by the time they unfreeze it, if they ever do, your purchasing power will be gone. But if your wealth is on chain, if it's in self-custody, if it's in a decentralized system, they can't touch it. You are your own bank. You are your own custodian. You are sovereign. And that sovereignty is the only thing that survives the reset.
In the 20th century, you trusted the vault. In the 21st, you are the vault. The reset just makes it official.
Now let me address something critical that most people don't understand. ETFs are clipping for blockchain assets. Let me explain what that means. When you buy a Bitcoin ETF or an Ethereum ETF or an XRP ETF, you're not buying Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP. You're buying a paper claim on those assets. The ETF holds the actual cryptocurrency, but you don't. You can't withdraw it. You can't move it. You can't use it. You own a share of a fund that owns the asset. That's rehypothecation in a new wrapper. Financial experts have warned that owning an ETF is fundamentally different from owning the underlying asset. ETF holders do not possess private keys to their cryptocurrency, leaving them vulnerable to intermediary failures or policy shifts. And here's the kicker. The vast majority of crypto ETF assets are held by a small number of third-party custodians. That creates concentration risk and single points of failure. If a major custodian faces operational issues, regulatory pressure, or is forced to freeze accounts during a crisis, every ETF using that custody service is stuck. Your Bitcoin isn't really yours. It's a claim on Bitcoin held by a custodian who can fail or be pressured by governments. This is the modern version of the Kipper und Whipper clipping we talked about in video 4. They're not shaving silver off coins anymore. They're creating paper wrappers around digital assets and selling you the wrapper while they hold the real thing. And when the crisis hits, when Saturn in Aries demands the hard asset, the ETF holders are going to realize they don't own anything. They own a promise, and promises break. And then there are stablecoins. We covered this in video 4, but it bears repeating because so many people think stablecoins are safe. They're not. Stablecoins like USDT and USDC are essentially unregulated money market funds dressed up in digital code. They promise you one stablecoin equals $1, but they maintain that peg by buying US Treasury bills. When you buy a stablecoin, the issuer takes your cash and buys government bonds. The stability of your stablecoin is now 100% dependent on the US bond market. Here's the trap. During a liquidity crisis, the market value of those bonds drops below face value. If a stablecoin issuer is forced to sell bonds in a panic to meet redemptions, they take a haircut. The stablecoin depegs. We saw this with USDC during the Silicon Valley Bank collapse in 2023, when it dropped to 88 cents. That was one bank failure. When the entire bond market enters a death spiral, every stablecoin backed by treasury bills collapses with it. And because stablecoins are used as collateral across DeFi, the collapse cascades through the entire digital ecosystem. You're holding what you think is $1, but it's actually a claim on a clipped treasury bill in a failing system.
Holding a treasury-backed stablecoin during a bond collapse is like holding a claim on a house that's already on fire.
The only way to truly own Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP is to hold it in self-custody. That means you control the private keys. That means the asset sits in your wallet, not on an exchange, not in an ETF, not in a custodian's vault. That's the difference between sovereignty and servitude. ETFs are convenient. ETFs are easy. ETFs are regulated. But ETFs are also a trap. They're the same old system dressed up in new clothes. And when the reset hits, the people holding ETFs and stablecoins are going to learn the same lesson bondholders are about to learn. Paper promises are worthless when the institution backing them collapses. Now let me address gold and silver, because people always ask, aren't those the classic hard assets? Don't they survive every collapse? Yes and no. Gold and silver are real assets. They can't be printed. They have thousands of years of history as stores of value, and they will absolutely hold value through the collapse. But here's the problem. Gold and silver are physical. They're heavy. They're hard to move. They're hard to divide. They're hard to verify. And most importantly, they can be confiscated. Remember 1933, Executive Order 6102? The government made it illegal to own gold and forced everyone to turn it in. They can do that again. In fact, they're more likely to do it this time because the desperation will be greater. If you're holding physical gold and the government issues a confiscation order, you have three choices: turn it in and lose it, hide it and risk prison, or flee the country. None of those are good options. But if your wealth is in Bitcoin, in a self-custody wallet, they can't confiscate it. They can make it illegal to own, but they can't take it from you unless you give them the keys.
They can make it illegal to own your keys, but they still can't turn your crypto password into their crypto password without your permission.
And even if they make it illegal in your country, it's still legal in dozens of other countries, and the network keeps running, regardless of what any single government does. This is the difference between physical hard assets and digital hard assets. Physical assets can be seized. Digital assets, if held correctly, can't. That's the sovereignty play. That's the exit. Now here's the timing. You do not have years to figure this out. You don't even have months. The window is closing right now. Once the velocity kicks in, once the bond market breaks, once the dollar starts to free fall, it will be too late. The exchanges will freeze. The banks will impose capital controls. The government will restrict crypto purchases. You won't be able to move your money. The trap will snap shut, and you'll be stuck inside. The time to act is before the crisis is obvious. The time to act is when people are still telling you everything is fine, when the stock market is still pretending nothing is wrong, when the media is still gaslighting you about inflation being transitory. That's now. That's this moment. If you wait until everyone sees the collapse, you'll be in line with millions of other people trying to exit at the same time. And there won't be enough liquidity. There won't be enough time. There won't be enough runway. Here's what you do. First, educate yourself. Learn what Bitcoin is. Learn what Ethereum is. Learn what XRP is. Learn what self-custody means. Learn the difference between holding crypto on an exchange, which is just another form of rehypothecation, and holding it in your own wallet where you control the keys. There are resources everywhere. There are tutorials. There are communities. Do the work. Second, start small. You don't have to go all in. You don't have to bet everything. But you need to have exposure. Take 5% of your liquid net worth and move it into Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. Hold it in self-custody. Learn how to secure it. Learn how to back up your keys. Get comfortable with the technology. Then, as you understand it more, as you see the cycles converging, as you see the collapse accelerating, you increase your allocation. 10%, 20%, 50%, whatever your risk tolerance allows. But start now. The saving grace to the demise of the U.S. Federal Reserve note is that there really isn't a good replacement right now for the world's reserve currency, at least for non-crypto fiat. The Japanese yen is backed by the world's highest debt-to-GDP ratio. The Chinese renminbi lacks the openness needed for reserve status, and no one thinks the euro can replace the dollar. This all means that you may, and I stress, may, have a little extra time to protect your family's generational wealth. But do you really want to take that chance? Third, diversify within the on-chain ecosystem. Don't just hold Bitcoin. Look at Ethereum for programmability. Look at XRP for institutional settlement infrastructure. The blockchain isn't just money. It's a whole new financial infrastructure being built in real time, and the people who understand how to navigate it are going to be the ones holding wealth on the other side. And fourth, understand that this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you the pattern. I'm showing you the cycles. I'm showing you the math. What you do with that information is your decision. But understand the stakes. This isn't about making money. This isn't about getting rich. This is about survival. This is about making sure that when the reset happens, when the old system collapses, you're not left holding worthless paper while everyone else is scrambling for the exits.
We aren't talking about getting rich anymore. We are talking about not being the person holding a bag of confetti when the party ends.
Now I know some of you watching this might be thinking, but what if it's already 2027 or 2028? What if I'm watching this after the date has passed? Am I too late? Here's what I want you to understand. Even if the initial shock has already happened, even if the bond market has already cracked, even if the velocity phase has already begun, it's not too late to take control of your financial future. Resets don't happen in a single day. They unfold in waves. History shows us that major financial restructurings take years to fully play out. The Great Depression wasn't a one-day event. Weimar hyperinflation took months to fully destroy the currency. The 2008 financial crisis had multiple waves of collapse over 2 years. You still have options. The key is to not be paralyzed by regret or fear. If the dollar has already started its descent, that means Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are likely already surging. The question isn't whether you missed the perfect entry point. The question is whether you're going to continue holding devaluing fiat and clipped bonds, or whether you're going to move into assets that preserve purchasing power. Even in the middle of a crisis, taking action is better than paralysis. The most important thing you can do, regardless of when you're watching this, is to become proactive. Take responsibility for your own financial education. Don't wait for permission from talking heads on television or financial advisors who are paid to keep you in the old system. Do your own research. Verify what I'm telling you. Look at the cycles. Look at the patterns. Look at the math. And then make your own informed decisions. And here's something critical. Don't let fear consume you. Yes, what's coming is severe. Yes, the old system is ending. Yes, millions of people are going to lose wealth. But fear paralyzes. Fear makes you freeze when you should be moving. The goal of this series isn't to terrify you. The goal is to inform you, to show you the patterns, and to give you a roadmap for action. If you understand what's happening, if you take steps to protect yourself, if you move even a portion of your wealth into sovereign assets, you're already ahead of 95% of the population. Most people will do nothing. They'll watch their savings evaporate and wonder what happened. You don't have to be one of them. Be proactive. Do your own research. Don't trust blindly, not even what I'm telling you. Verify everything. Look at the sources, study the cycles, understand the math, and then act according to your own judgment and risk tolerance. The power is in your hands. The information is available. The tools exist. The only question is whether you're going to use them. Let me bring this home. The four-way stop is here. Pluto in Aquarius has stopped the private mint and forced transparency. Neptune in Aries has stopped the blurry border and triggered national self-preservation. Uranus in Gemini has stopped the paper timeline and is about to shatter the unit of account hallucination. Saturn in Aries has stopped the bond clipping and is demanding hard collateral. The pi cycle, the Kitchin cycle, the Kondratiev wave, the solar maximum, all of them are converging on 2026. The concerted verdict is in. The old world is over.
Did you really think I put on that dress and sat in a marble hall just to look glamorous? I'm here to audit the collapse. The outfit is just a technical courtesy.
The only asset class that survives is the one that can't be printed, can't be clipped, can't be rehypothecated, and can't be confiscated. That's decentralized, on-chain, self-custodied digital assets. That's Bitcoin. That's Ethereum. That's XRP. Because here's the final truth. This reset is not optional. It's not political. It's not a matter of opinion. It's mathematical. It's cyclical. It's inevitable. The system has run out of road. The debt can't be paid. The currency can't hold value. The bonds are worthless. The rehypothecation chain is breaking. And when it all comes down, the only people who survive are the ones who saw it coming and moved their wealth to higher ground. The 2026 reset is here. The hammers have fallen. The cycles have converged. The verdict is final. Don't let fear control you. Be proactive. Do your own research. And take action according to your own judgment. The only question left is, are you on the right side of it?
Wow.
Thank you for watching this series.
Ciao.
Share it with everyone you know. The truth doesn't need permission. It just needs to be seen.
Be a doll. Hit like, say something clever, and subscribe. And if you got the taste and coin, the description box is waiting.